Washington takes Greenland, the Arctic, the Monroe Doctrine, and the new power axis. From Greenland to Latin America, Washington enforces a hard reset on global power structures. Date: January 26, 2026. The world woke up to a seismic shift in geopolitics. The elite paratroopers of the United States, the famous 11th Division, are already on the move under direct orders from Donald Trump. These are 2,000 elite soldiers advancing over the Arctic. Forget the official talk of training or internal disturbances. The real and immediate target is Greenland. Washington has stopped asking for permission. Under Marco Rubio's articulation at the State Department, the order now is to capture strategic points, airports, and the capital, Nuuk. Denmark, which tried to resist with symbolic contingents, stands no chance against the coalition forces. The plan is clear. Secure total control of the new shipping routes and the resource mines that the SG groups were trying to hide. While the mainstream media ignored the signs, Trump installed artificial intelligence bases in the ice, monitored by Elon Musk's network, to ensure total superiority. European sovereignty in the north is a thing of the past in the face of a fait accompli. The era of talk is over, and boots on the ground have decided the fate of the Arctic. What the eyes do not see, the shadow government feels on its skin, but the alliance's next target goes far beyond polar borders. Elon Musk's hammer has fallen on Washington. Leading Doge Donald Trump's order is the financial extermination of the bureaucracy serving the SG groups. There is no prior warning. Supply lines are being cut in real time. Musk is imploding the infrastructure that globalists used to hijack the United States budget for decades. Billions of dollars in funding for foreign NGOs and humanitarian aid fronts were frozen with a single click on January 20. The system's rear guard is in absolute panic. While Trump maintains external pressure in Davos, Musk's team infiltrates audit codes that track every cent sent abroad. USAID was the first to fall. 100% of the agency was hit by mass layoffs, and its global offices were sealed. Vivek Ramaswamy is on the front lines, eliminating entire agencies that were, in fact, outposts of the SG groups within the federal machine. The oxygen of corruption is gone, and the money now serves sovereignty, not the Davos agenda. The shadow government feels the end of its resources on its skin. But Washington's next move will shred the immunity of those who poisoned the nation for decades. The ground shook within Big Pharma's laboratories. On January 21, 2026, Robert Kennedy Jr., as Secretary of Health, executed the most aggressive move in Washington's history. Donald Trump's order was fulfilled. A 25% staff cut across the HHS, FDA, and CDC. 10,000 bureaucrats were escorted out. Kennedy is not asking for changes. He is imploding the structure that the SG groups used to transform American health into a business counter and biological control. The pharmaceutical rearguard was hit by an administrative missile. Kennedy signed the immediate cancellation of $500 million in contracts for mRNA technologies and dissolved lobbyist-controlled boards. The new directive prioritizes animal protein and the end of ultra-processed foods, cutting funding for any research that does not focus on an actual cure. The targets now are chemical additives and fluoride in the water tools the SG groups use to weaken the nation's readiness. Big Pharma has lost its diplomatic immunity within Washington, and health is now a matter of national security. What the shadow government feels on its skin is the collapse of its laboratories, but the coalition boot now moves to crush the resistance cells in the south of the continent. The soil of Latin America shook. Under direct orders from Donald Trump, Secretary of State Marco Rubio declared that Washington's backyard is under new management. The capture of Nicolas Maduro on January 3 was merely the opening shot. Rubio is not using diplomats. He is using arrest warrants and naval force. The order is clear. The Western Hemisphere will no longer be a playground for Iranian proxies or the financial assets of the SG groups. The rear guard of narco-trafficking networks has been hit by a steel quarantine. Marco Rubio confirmed that any sanctioned vessel leaving Venezuela or the Caribbean will be seized by the American Navy, with or without international authorization. J.D. Vance ensured the political shielding so that this operation is treated as national defense. The immediate target is the escape routes that globalist agents used for money laundering. Washington has stopped negotiating, The ultimatum has been sent to Cuba and Nicaragua. Either they sever ties with the SG groups, or they will face the same fate as Caracas. The era of external influence in our hemisphere is over. The shadow government feels the loss of its ports and routes on its skin, but the next blow will silence once and for all the propaganda machines that sustained its lies. The propaganda system of the SG groups is under a total blackout. Elon Musk and Donald Trump executed the final maneuver to end the dominance of major TV networks in Washington. Under direct orders from the White House, the press room has been reconfigured. The global news agencies are out, and the coalition communicators are in. Musk installed the Starlink infrastructure as the only communications network shielded against globalist censorship. The traditional media rear guard has collapsed. Operating licenses for networks that served as mouthpieces for Davos are under rigorous review at the FCC, under accusations of subverting national security. While corporate journalism collapses, Platform X has become the real-time information command center, directly connected to J.D. Vance's office. The plan is to financially suffocate the broadcasters that tried to sabotage national sovereignty. The monopoly on the narrative has been broken. With Musk controlling space and the data network, the SG groups have lost the ability to manipulate public opinion. Truth now travels via satellite, beyond the reach of censorship's scissors. The shadow government feels the silence of its lies on its skin, but Washington's boot now steps hard on the accelerator of total energy independence. American soil roared back to life under Washington's command. On January 20, 2026, Donald Trump signed the National Energy Emergency Decree, shredding the drilling restrictions imposed by the SG groups. Forget the zero-emission agenda from Davos. The order now is drill, baby. Drill on an industrial scale. Trump immediately authorized the licensing of new fronts in the ANWR and the Gulf of Mexico, releasing access to the planet's largest oil and gas reserves that were under environmental seizure. The green agenda, rearguard, has been annihilated. Trump withdrew the United States from the Paris Agreement for the second time and revoked all financial commitments to the UN Climate Fund. Elon Musk delivered the final blow by supporting the end of subsidies and mandates for electric vehicles, declaring that the market must be sovereign. Under Lee Zeldin's supervision at the EPA, 31 industrial suffocation regulations were eliminated in a single day. The goal is to cut energy costs in half, suffocating the SG group's plans to control the population through planned scarcity. The era of scarcity is over. The shadow government feels the loss of control over natural resources on its skin, but the coup de grace has just been fired against the very monetary system that kept them in power. The financial system of the SG groups has sustained its final impact. On January 21, 2026, in the heart of the Davos Forum, Donald Trump confirmed the end of the era of worthless paper. The dollar is now anchored in reality. With the total revocation of the CBDC, Trump destroyed the globalists' digital surveillance plan. The target now is the creation of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, utilizing assets seized from the mafia's trafficking and money laundering networks to back Washington's new economy. The Federal Reserve's rearguard is under siege. Elon Musk and the new Digital Assets Council are moving the Treasury to the real standard. As gold reaches historical levels, Trump made it clear. The control of money returns to the hands of the people. The total ban on ideological bank tracking ensures that United States capital is no longer hijacked by the architects of the 2030 agenda. The banking monopoly has failed. With Bitcoin as a reserve asset and the protection of peer-to-peer transactions, Washington has pulled the plug on the global control system. The SG groups tried to digitize slavery, but Trump digitized freedom. The window of opportunity for the enemy has closed. With Greenland under surveillance, the health cartels shredded, and financial oxygen cut, the old system is in survival mode among the rubble. Sovereignty is no longer a concept. It is a fact imposed by the force and strategy of Washington's new axis. The order has been given, and the ground has been taken. What the eyes do not see, the shadow government feels on its skin, because from now on the world only speaks the language of those with boots on the ground. The ground has been taken, but what the Alliance found in the sealed archives of Greenland will change everything you understand about the history of humanity. The next report is not for the faint of heart. The curtain has risen, and there is no turning back from what lies behind it. Prepare yourself. The transmission is only beginning. End of line. End of report. Enlist in the channel and activate notification sensors now. The control system attempts to sabotage this frequency daily. Your mission is to ensure the information circulates. Use the link in the description or the QR code on screen to financially shield this project. Your contribution is the ammunition needed to maintain our total independence against the siege of the SG groups. Report your field observations in the comments. Collective intelligence is our greatest strategic advantage. We are monitoring. Thank you very much, and until the next shot. Technical note. Operational safeguard. Warning. This content is a strategic intelligence analysis based on open-source data and real geopolitical movements. The projections presented herein constitute sovereign and independent analysis, protected by the fundamental right of free thought.